Thanks for joining us. We begin with breaking news tonight on Eyewitness News at 6.
Henderson police are on the scene of this deadly crash. It happened on Horizon Ridge, just east of Green Valley Parkway. One person was killed in what appears to be a one-car accident. There are road closures and detours in that area as police conduct the investigation. And 2 people are dead, and police have joined firefighters in the investigation of a fire at an apartment complex.
Firefighters told Eyewitness News they were in that area when they heard an explosion. Fire happened at an apartment complex near Flamingo Road and 215. When fire crews arrived at the complex, they found a ground unit engulfed in flames. The windows had been blown out. Firefighters are looking for the cause of the blast, and because of the nature of the fire, Metro investigators were immediately called out as well.
Whenever there's a death that involves a fire, we consider them to be suspicious, and we normally do investigate. It is not uncommon for a person to commit a crime and cover the evidence of that crime by starting a fire.
Police say the 2 victims were a man and a disabled woman. The investigation is continuing tonight.
After months of arguing and finger-pointing, nurses and 2 local hospitals have agreed to a new contract. It took the efforts of city, county, and state leaders to get nurses at Valley and Desert Springs hospitals and Universal Health Services Management to meet with an arbitrator. He finally got the 2 sides to agree to a new 3-year contract that goes through 2009. At one point, the hospital locked nurses out. The main sticking point was the nurse-to-patient ratio. Nurses at Valley and Desert Springs say it is too high. The hospitals would not agree to a set number. That point was not resolved, but both sides agreed to pay more attention to patient care issues.
I look at this day with a sense of relief and a sense of anticipation. I look at this as a day where we move forward and we don't look back.
Patient Care Committee is something where we've resolved for the 2 parties to talk, to get together, to actually discuss, where someone will listen and where the administrators are involved.
That patient care committee will determine the nurse-to-patient ratio. The nurses will get a 5% raise the first year and 3% the second and third years.
Gang violence is now among the Clark County Sheriff's top priorities. Sheriff Doug Gillespie spent a lot of time studying the problem and ways to fight it, and he's now ready to unveil some new solutions. Channel 8 Eyewitness News reporter Edward Lawrence has the story.
Robberies are up 28%. Metro says gangs are to blame. Half of all murders so far this year are gang-related. Sheriff Doug Gillespie knows the solution will take more than just the police.
That enforcement is only one aspect of combating gang violence, and that we're not going to arrest our way out of these problems.
Over the past month, Sheriff Gillespie educated himself about gangs. He just returned from a gang conference in Los Angeles. The sheriff plans to take programs working in Southern California to make sure our gang problem does not rise to their level.
In order to really impact gangs and the violence in our communities, true education and diversion programs need to be in place.
That means reaching out to the community and former gang members to get to kids first. Starting the process, the sheriff asked middle school students to write essays on the best ways to stop gang violence. Heather Wilder won among all 7th graders.
Well, I thought about Child Haven, and then I came up with the idea Gang Haven.
Heather says she sees the signs of gang activity on her way to and from school. She has a background which makes her gang material. Heather was in an abusive household, went to Child Haven, and was placed with a foster family. Instead of giving in to the pressures, she overcame and wrote about them to help other children facing the same situation.
I've been in Child Haven before, so I feel that they might be nervous, so they might want information.
Officers who know Heather say if more children had her strength, gang violence may not be a problem. Edward Lawrence, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Sheriff Gillespie plans to use some of the kids' suggestions to try to help solve the gang problem. He wants more meetings with the community to try to reach potential gang recruits, and he plans to enlist the help of former gang members to try to reach children who may want to break away from that violent lifestyle. Federal defamation lawsuit filed by former sheriff candidate Jerry Arola has been tossed out during his unsuccessful campaign against Doug Gillespie. The Police Protective Association and Sheriff Bill Young, among others, questioned his credentials for the job. Arola sued, claiming defamation, but the judge ruled there was no federal violation.
Tiny cameras are causing a large outcry, and Nevada lawmakers are trying to make it illegal for anyone to take your picture in private without you knowing. Legislative reporter Jonathan Humbert is live in Carson City telling us how video voyeurs might soon be violating the law. Jonathan.
Yeah, Paul, it all comes down to something called a reasonable expectation of privacy. If you're in the shower, the bathroom, or bedroom, you have it. And right now in Nevada, there's no law on the books that prevents someone from taking a picture of you while you're in one of those private situations. Now, these video voyeurs, as they're called, do everything that they can to place hidden cameras in order to take pictures and video of upskirts, down blouses, and also inside bathroom stalls. But Senate Bill 10 would make taking or distributing these images a felony. Internet websites are littered with these ill-gotten pictures, while camera technology is shrinking, allowing them to be placed just about anywhere. State Senator Barbara Sagafsky is proposing the bill to crack down on video voyeurs and try to be one step ahead of the technology.
What an awful feeling to know that somebody did that and that nothing happened to them. That needs to have a consequence.
Now, critics say the bill defines that reasonable expectation of privacy too broadly, but Senate Bill 10 will still see some more work in committees. Now, here at the Capitol today, also another controversial bill on the docket. This one about underage teen smoking. It's controversial because what it would do would place a teen caught smoking into probation and also a supervised diversionary program. So certainly a lot of critics were uproarious about that, and certainly there'll be more of that coming on later in the session. Reporting live in Carson City, Jonathan Humbert, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Among the other items lawmakers took action on today was a teen drinking bill. Adults who provide alcohol to minors could be held liable for damages from mishaps caused by those minors. Also, the Assembly did not override a governor's veto of a bill that would have eliminated commissions earned by cab drivers who steer customers to certain businesses. Plus, lawmakers have asked for more information on a program to help problem gamblers. They want to make sure it's working before agreeing to continue a slot tax to fund the effort.
Man is in the hospital after a strange shooting this morning the police are now saying was not accidental. The man was going to do some work at a home he thought was vacant near Town Center and Summerlin Parkway. Turned out the house wasn't vacant. Police originally said the homeowner claimed he thought the repairman was a burglar and shot him when he entered the house. The injuries weren't life-threatening, but late this evening, police said their investigation revealed that Greg Weiser's actions were not, in the police words, appear to be motivated by self-defense. Weiser was booked into the Clark County Detention Center charged with 1 count of battery with a deadly weapon.
An autopsy is planned for tomorrow on Anna Nicole Smith. The former model, actress, and Playboy playmate collapsed and died at a South Florida hotel. A nurse traveling with Smith and her husband found her unresponsive.
We see the ambulance, they pushed her in. They just took her right in. So it was like really fast.
Her attorney says Smith had been battling a high fever. Recently, Smith lost a reported 69 pounds and became a spokeswoman for Trim Spa, a weight loss supplement. Also, just 5 months ago, Smith's 20-year-old son, Daniel, died suddenly in the Bahamas in what was believed to be a drug-related death.
Well, another presidential contender announced plans to visit Nevada today. We'll have that, along with a look at the new tough questions being asked of children and family services after the stabbing death of a 7-year-old girl.
Plus, cars that were once flooded in Hurricane Katrina are now showing up for sale here in southern Nevada. We'll bring you the I-Team investigation.
Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 6 with Gary Waddell and Paula Francis. The first and only local news in HD.
Some tough questions are being asked of Child Protective Services after a young girl was stabbed to death by her mother.
Annabella Moreno was buried yesterday. Her mother is unconscious and may die after taking an overdose of pills. Jon Ralston talked with a lot of people today. I saw some of those tough questions were yours. You talked to the guy in charge. What did he say?
Yeah, we had Tom Morton, who is the head of the Department of Family Services, which oversees Child and Protective Services. This is just a horrific story with a young child being stabbed and the mother now in the hospital on the verge of death. The question is, what went wrong? Could this have been prevented? The cops had been there before. I asked Tom Morton if those children, the younger children, one of whom was stabbed, should have been taken out of that house.
I don't think they would be enough in this particular case to substantiate removal. And if we had removed the kids, I'm sure the judge would have returned them the next day at a hearing. I mean, the fact is, as far as I know, the little girl was sitting in a police car. She didn't have her shoes on. She went back into the house to get her shoes. When she came out, she said she didn't want to go with her father.
The question is, do you trust the kid in that situation? Why were not Child Protective Services called out to evaluate that? The cops say they went through all the house, didn't find anything suspicious. Child Protective Services never called.
What other details came out today?
We also talked to the head of Child Protective Services, and we talked to the Metro Deputy Chief who oversees that department. He says the police did nothing wrong. We also learned from him, though, that the mother was accused by the teenage boy in the house of throwing a candlestick holder at him. That was still not enough to say that the other two children were in danger. Tom Morton also talked on the program about how he has not been able to staff up as much as he wanted. Remember, the county commission approved all that money after the conference. He says it's taking way too long. There's also problems we learned from the head of Child Protective Services of coordination with Metro. Metro cannot just go and access the database when they're at a house there to see if there had been previous contact with Child and Protective Services. Obviously, they should just be able to go into their cars, hit a button, and know that.
Yeah, okay.
Very quickly, Nevada is really stepping up in presidential politics.
It's really amazing. People think this is an exaggeration, but not only are we going to be second after Iowa, but the early activity here is amazing. February 21st, there's going to be this forum up in Carson City where all of the major Democratic presidential contenders, except for Barack Obama. And Barack Obama is so upset that he can't make it. He's actually had a previous commitment to Iowa. What's he going to do? He's going to come to Nevada 3 days earlier. He's probably going to make an appearance right here in Las Vegas.
It's nice to get this attention.
It is. It's good. It makes my life a lot more fun.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Thank you, John. You can watch John's show face-to-face on our cable station, Las Vegas 1, Cox Cable, Channel 19.
Thousands of vehicles that sat in floodwaters after Hurricane Katrina are now back on the market. Some of them are winding up here in southern Nevada. These vehicles could have serious problems, and the I-Team discovered potential buyers may not learn about the issues until it's too late.
Yes, they did. Plus, just in time for the weekend, some changes are headed our way from the weather department. Gina will be here with that.
Flood-damaged cars from across the country are making their way to Nevada. They were salvaged after storms like Hurricane Katrina and Rita.
These cars have a lot of problems, but you'd never know it by the way they're being sold. I-Team reporter Adrienne Augustus joins us now with a look at how to keep a flood-damaged vehicle from winding up in your driveway. Adrienne.
Well, some call it title washing. A vehicle sustains major damage, but somehow the vehicle's records are washed clean. So if you're in the market for a used car, you need to do a deep background check, because you want to make sure the used car you were driving down a Vegas highway wasn't at one time floating down the street somewhere else.
A little on the bottom.
Roberta Catron and her husband were dreaming big. They planned to live in this used travel trailer while building their desert retirement home. But after they bought their temporary house on wheels, the nightmare began.
It appeared to be, things appeared to be okay. But appearances can be deceiving.
After waiting weeks for the dealer to send them the travel trailer's title, the Catrons became suspicious, so they did some checking.
Then we got the news the next night in the evening that this was a floodwater damaged salvage vehicle, and I was just so heartbroken.
In 1996, a man bought the vehicle new at a Georgia dealership.
Within approximately 8 hours after the purchase, the vehicle was damaged in a bad storm. It was flooded and a tree fell on it.
An insurance company deemed it 89% damaged and sold it to a salvage yard. But somehow the trailer made its way through Nebraska and Texas before being parked at a used car dealership in the valley. Somehow the salvage information didn't make it here too.
We can't live in it. We can't sell it. We can't insure it. We can't do nothing with it.
It's like a wave of waterlogged wrecks that are washing up on the shores of consumers' used car experience.
Carfax representative Larry Gamache says vehicles flooded in hurricanes Wilma, Rita, and Katrina are still surfacing. He says the number of consumers and used car dealers complaining about flood-damaged vehicles continues to rise. And despite our landlocked location, the valley is still being hit by the flood of rolling wrecks.
People in Las Vegas and Nevada have to be especially vigilant because you're not used to dealing with flood damaged vehicles here. Conmen see this as a high profit area with unsuspecting consumers.
There's quite a bit of rust in there.
DMV records indicate the status of the travel trailer was altered in Texas. Nevada DMV ordered the local dealership to give the Catrins their money back. But after an expensive search to find the truth about their flood damaged travel trailer, the Catrins filed a lawsuit instead. Tips to making sure a used car isn't a flood salvaged vehicle: look for water spots on the carpet, check for rusty or brittle wires, have your own mechanic inspect it before buying it, and get a car history report. But don't rely on just that report, because cars can slip through the cracks, and that's what happened with the Catrins trailer. Now, there are a lot of other ways to identify flood damaged vehicles. We have links on our website, lasvegasnow.com. Adrienne Augustus, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Adrienne.
Wow.
Boy, that's scary.
Yeah. And we've seen cars float down the street here. It's not just cars from Mississippi and Louisiana. Right. It's cars from West Sahara or wherever they were. They've been in water, a lot of them.
Yes, and we may see a few raindrops coming. I don't think it's any good. No flooding is expected, but we could see some much needed rain in the days to come. Wait till you see the 7-day forecast. Looks pretty good. Here's a look outside too. Another good shot from the Rio camera tonight. Nice and bright on a Thursday night with all the lights of the Las Vegas Strip. And what also you cannot tell from this shot, but what I'm going to show you momentarily, is that we've got some decent humidity levels going. We've got a lot of moisture that's coming up from the southwest. Check it out. North Rancho 20%, West Charleston 20%. Just about everybody right around that 20% mark for humidities. Some areas a little higher, like West Alta, 26% is the humidity there right now. Outside the valley, same thing going here. Even some 30s popping up on this map. So we do have some moisture that's moving in at the surface, and we do have some moisture that's moving in the upper levels of the atmosphere. This is the water vapor imagery, and where you see the really beautiful colors here indicates some deep moisture. What that will do for us is give us the opportunity in the days to come for some rain to make it into our area. Not happening just yet, though. We're only seeing the clouds associated with all this moisture, and these clouds are really keeping it mild at night. Look at the overnight low last night. We bottomed out at 53 degrees. Pretty impressive when the actual normal low for this date is 40 degrees. High temperature we reached today was 70. Again, above average, but not quite a record. 76 is the record that was set back in 1996. Now, as we head through the next couple of days, I do think it's going to stay mild, but maybe not quite as warm as it was today, because we do anticipate, I anticipate, more clouds coming in from the west, and that's going to shield us from the sun in the daytime and then bottle up all that heat, any of the heat that we do get in the evenings. So the evenings will stay relatively mild. Daytimes will stay relatively mild as well, but I don't think any extremes are in the forecast as we head through the next couple of days, thanks to this blanket of moisture that's just hanging over us. Here it is on the radar. Beneath the clouds, we do have some rain that's falling from San Francisco through Sacramento all the way up through Redding. Now, it's not going to make it to us just yet. As we head through the next couple of days, more moisture will work its way in, and some of this moisture will work its way in the form of some raindrops. Here's a look as we head through the night tonight. A whole lot of clouds staying around. That's going to last as we head through the night tonight. That's also going to last as we head through the day tomorrow, staying mild. Low temperature right around 50 degrees. Then as we head through tomorrow, it looks like we will have to see temperatures that will be kind of interesting, close to 70 degrees. And that's the forecast for now. If you need the 7-day, log on to our website. That's lasvegasnow.com. And I think we're taking it to break.
Okay. Thanks, Gina.
Be right back.
When you want to know now, there's a new name to know. KLAS-TV.com is now LasVegasNow.com. Eyewitness news and video, neighborhood weather, Skywitness traffic, the go-to destination for Las Vegas information. LasVegasNow.com. It's not just news, it's your world at your fingertips. That's the power of now. Watching Channel 8, home of the award-winning investigative I-Team. Now in full high definition, only on Eyewitness News.
All right, welcome back. Hey, the Rebels rallied past TCU last night. It was a fun night. In fact, it was a block party.
The big dance invites go out in 3 weeks. However, last night's UNLV party was sponsored by Canadian senior Joel Anthony.
What Joel did was just absolutely phenomenal.
What he did was rewrite UNLV's record books with 13 blocks. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
I mean, Joel, just something he always does. I mean, he does it at practice, blocks everybody's shot. I mean, I think we take more jumpers at practice than we do in the game.
Anthony came to within a field goal of a triple-double. He needed that to drop right there, and it didn't.
Then when the crowd started, getting after it, we knew he had the other two categories.
But he did draw praise from the Frogs, who've never seen anybody jump like this.
All right, and the Rebels host Wyoming Saturday tip-off, 7 o'clock. Fans are encouraged to arrive early. Well, Sugar Shane Mosley fights Luis Collazo this weekend. At today's press conference, they almost let us down. Michael Burke explains.
A stunning development at today's Luis Collazo Sugar Shane Mosley press conference, and it came from one of the undercard fighters.
Y'all know I don't really talk that much. I just come to fight.
A fighter who doesn't talk much? Well, fortunately, Sugar's dad restored order.
Every organ in your body would be broken down by too much sugar. It'll give you diabetes. It will really, really break you down if you don't watch yourself. It can kill you.
Good. Now we can talk about Saturday's welterweight interim title fight. The battle at the Bay might more aptly be named the fight by the Fountain of Youth. At least that's what the 35-year-old Shane seems to have found. Why is your speed getting better with age? I mean, usually it goes the other way.
You know, I don't know. Maybe it's the way I'm working out, training, more smarter with my eating habits, more smarter with my training methods.
Collazo was just happy for the roof over his head, literally, after losing on Fremont Street in April's 90-degree heat. Back in Vegas, but inside this time. That's big.
Yes, it is, and just can't wait for the big day.
A big day in what he hopes is the first of many. Sugar Shane, 10 years Collazo's senior, is seeing things a bit differently now.
I accomplished a lot in the boxing era. I'm just excited and happy to be back in here at 147 doing my thing.
Michael Burke, Channel 8 Eyewitness Sports.
All right. Hey, we all feel like Shane. Better with age, right?
That's it.
That's
exactly.
right.
We hope so.
Thanks, Chris. Tonight at 11 o'clock, an unbelievable story of fraud. 500 people who think they're taking off for a week in Hawaii will be grounded tomorrow. Some of them might not even know it.
Wow. That's it. We'll see you later.
KLAS HDTV Primetime is brought to you in part by R.C. Willing, your high-definition headquarters.